Have you ever wondered why so many people who reach 80 seem to slow down, even those who were doing great just a year or two before? We often think it's just genetics or luck of the draw, but there's much more to the story than that. In this video, I'm going to share 5 surprising reasons that explain why many older folks struggle to stay healthy and active past 80. These aren't the usual things you hear about, like diet or exercise. These are deeper factors that most people miss, even those who've done everything else right. The good news is that once you know what these hidden factors are, you can actually do something about them. So if you're curious about what really causes that decline after 80, and how you can prevent it while there's still time, stay with me until the end. These insights might completely change how you approach aging. Let's jump right in. Point number 1. The disappearing daily connections. One of the biggest yet least discussed reasons why many people decline after 80 is what I call vanishing daily connections. These aren't your close friendships or family ties, though those are crucial too, but all those small, brief interactions that used to fill your everyday life. Think about all the little moments of human contact that happen throughout a normal day. Chatting with the person behind the counter at the coffee shop, waving to your neighbor across the street, exchanging a few words with the mail carrier. These tiny social moments might seem unimportant, but they're actually doing something powerful for your brain and body. When those small interactions start to fade away, maybe because you're not getting out as much, or you've started having things delivered instead of going to stores, or your hearing makes conversations harder, something vital begins to slip away too. Many older folks don't even notice it happening. They think they're just simplifying their lives or avoiding hassle. But what they're actually doing is removing the small social sparks that keep them feeling connected to the world around them. I remember my Uncle Frank, who stayed sharp well into his 90s. What was his secret? Every single morning, he walked 3 blocks to the same diner, sat at the same counter, and exchanged the same simple greetings with the staff and regulars. Those 5 minutes of connection weren't just habit. They were keeping him alive in more ways than one. When we lose these everyday interactions, our brain actually starts to change. It affects our mood, our memory, and even our immune system. Our brain takes those missing connections as a signal that maybe we're not needed in the world anymore, and it responds accordingly. So if you've found yourself having fewer of these little daily exchanges, or if you've noticed an older loved one becoming more isolated from these small but meaningful connections, it's time to bring them back. Even in small doses, they tell your brain and body that you're still part of the living, breathing world. And that message is incredibly powerful medicine. Point number 2. The caution trap. The second hidden reason many people don't thrive past 80 is something that actually starts with good intentions: being careful. But there's a big difference between being reasonably careful and falling into what I call the caution trap. It often starts with a scare, maybe a small fall or a moment of dizziness. Nothing serious happens, but it plants a seed of fear. So you decide to be more careful. You stop going for walks outside. You avoid stairs. You sit more and move less. Everyone around you encourages this. Better safe than sorry, they say. But here's what nobody tells you. When movement stops, strength disappears. And not just in your legs or arms, but in your balance, your coordination, your ability to catch yourself if you do stumble. Your body isn't like a car that lasts longer if you use it less. It's the opposite. It's designed to keep moving. I saw this happen with my neighbor Martha. She was active and independent at 80, but after one minor fall that didn't even cause an injury, she became ultra cautious. Within just 6 months, she'd lost so much strength that simple things like getting up from a chair became difficult. The caution that was meant to protect her actually made her more vulnerable. The muscles that keep you stable, especially your core muscles, start to weaken quickly when you stop using them. And when they weaken, your balance gets worse, which makes you even more cautious, which leads to less movement. It's a downward spiral. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore real risks. Use handrails, wear good shoes, clear pathways in your home. Be smart about it. But there's a world of difference between managing risk and letting fear take over your life. If you've noticed yourself or someone you love doing less, not because they can't, but because they're afraid something might happen, that's a red flag. Moving with care is wise. Stopping movement altogether is dangerous. Keep moving, even if it's gentle, even if it's slow. Your body remembers what you ask of it. And if you stop asking, it assumes you don't need those abilities anymore. And if you're finding value in these insights, please comment. Thanks below to let me know you're with me. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos that could help you or someone you love stay healthy longer. Your support helps us create more content like this. Point number 3. Mixed up day and night signals. There's something happening in your body right now that you can't see or feel, but it controls almost everything. Your internal clock, or what scientists call your circadian rhythm. This body clock affects your energy, your digestion, your immune system, and especially how your brain repairs itself at night. After 80, this internal clock becomes extra sensitive. And one of the biggest ways it gets thrown off track is through mixed-up light signals. Not enough natural light during the day, and too much artificial light at night. It might start innocently enough. Maybe you're not getting outside as much as you used to, especially in winter months. Maybe you're napping more during the day. Perhaps you're staying up later watching TV or keeping lights on until bedtime. Each of these changes might seem small, but together they send confusing messages to your body about when to be awake and alert, and when to rest and repair. Your body evolved to use sunlight as its main timekeeper. Bright morning light tells your brain it's daytime, time to be alert, and darkness signals time to wind down and release melatonin. That's the hormone that helps you fall into deep, healing sleep. When older folks don't get enough daylight exposure and then sit in bright artificial light in the evenings, their sleep quality plummets. And poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It affects memory, mood, and even how well your immune system works. I remember when I was very young, my grandmother complained many times about waking up at 3 a.m. every night and not being able to fall back asleep. What changed her situation? 20 minutes of morning sunlight on her face, even just sitting by a bright window, and dimming the lights in her house after dinner. Within a week, she was sleeping better than she had in years. This is something simple that makes a huge difference. Make sure you or your elder loved ones get some bright natural light exposure early in the day, every day. And in the evenings, start dimming lights a couple hours before bedtime. Keep screens to a minimum after sunset. Your body's internal clock is the conductor of a complex symphony of health, and light is how you set that clock. Point number 4. The medicine puzzle. The fourth hidden reason many people struggle after 80 has to do with what's in their medicine cabinet. Now, I'm not saying medications aren't important. They absolutely are. But what happens when you've been taking multiple medications for years, prescribed by different doctors who may not always communicate with each other? This is what geriatricians, doctors who specialize in elder care, call polypharmacy. But I just call it the medicine puzzle. And it's more common than you might think. By the time many people reach 80, they're taking 5, 7, sometimes even 10 different prescription medications. Each one was prescribed for a good reason. But together, They can create a perfect storm of side effects and interactions that mimic the signs of aging or illness. Dizziness, confusion, fatigue, poor appetite, memory problems. We often chalk these up to just getting older, when sometimes they're actually side effects or interactions between medications. What makes this even trickier is that as we age, our bodies process medications differently. A dose that worked perfectly at 70 might be too strong at 80. Your kidneys and liver, which filter medications, slow down over time. This means drugs stay in your system longer and can build up to higher levels. My friend Richard was taking medication for his heart, another for his blood pressure, something for his cholesterol, a pill for acid reflux, and a sleep aid. He was feeling foggy, unsteady, and was struggling with his memory. His family thought it was early dementia. But when a new doctor reviewed all his medications together and adjusted several doses, it was like watching someone come back to life. The aging symptoms weren't aging at all. They were side effects that had built up over time. This is why it's so important for older adults to have all their medications reviewed at least once a year by a single doctor who can see the whole picture. Sometimes removing just one unnecessary medication or adjusting a dose can make a world of difference. If you or someone you love is on multiple medications and experiencing new symptoms, don't just accept it as inevitable aging. Ask for a medication review. It could be the puzzle piece you've been missing. Point number 5. Purpose deficiency. The final hidden reason people often decline after 85 might be the most powerful of all: the quiet disappearance of purpose. For decades, your days had structure and meaning. Maybe you had a career, raised a family, volunteered, or pursued passions. You had reasons to get up in the morning, people who counted on you, things that needed doing. But after 80, many of these purpose-giving roles have faded away. Children are grown with their own busy lives. Career is long finished. Maybe health limitations have made favorite activities difficult. And society itself often sends subtle messages that older people are no longer needed. Without even realizing it, many older adults slip into what I call purpose deficiency. Days begin to blend together. The question, "What's the point?" starts to hover in the background. And this isn't just a philosophical problem, it's biological. When the brain doesn't receive regular signals that you're needed and valuable, it actually begins to shut down certain systems. Stress hormones increase, inflammation rises, immune function weakens. It's as if the body takes the cue that maybe it's time to wind things down. I've seen this countless times in nursing homes. Two people with similar health profiles, but one continues to thrive while the other declines rapidly. The difference? Often it's simply having a reason to be here. My own grandfather lived to 97, sharp until the very end. His secret? Every day, he tended a small vegetable garden and gave the produce to neighbors. It wasn't much, just a few tomatoes or zucchini, but people thanked him, appreciated him. He was needed. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It might be caring for a pet, teaching someone a skill, making something with your hands, or simply being the keeper of family stories and wisdom. The key is that it matters to someone else, that your presence makes a difference. If you're over 80 or love someone who is, make sure there's something each day that creates a sense of being needed. It might be the most powerful medicine of all. The good news is that now that you know about these hidden factors, you can do something about them. Small changes in these areas can make an enormous difference in how you or your loved ones experience the later years. Remember, growing older is inevitable, but declining is often optional. With the right knowledge and small daily choices, many people can stay vibrant, engaged, and independent well into their 90s and beyond. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might benefit from this information. Leave a comment below with any questions or your own insights about staying vital in later years. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.